Hey look everyone, it's Missile Command Recharged for Ataribox. One of the hit exclusive games for the Ataribox that's due to hit this... Wait, what's that? This is not Ataribox? Oh, this is Nintendo Switch. And the game was already available on mobile devices? And it's also on Steam? So why would I want to play Ataribox today? Is it on that Amico thing? Does anybody know? Who cares? I digress. Anyways, Missile Command Recharge is a remake of the 1980 arcade classic Missile Command, where you assume control of 3 missile launchers and have to defend your 6 cities from constant aerial bombardment. This is done by moving the cursor around with the D-pad analog stick and pressing a button to launch a missile and hope the blast will take out as many inbound warheads as it can reach. When an enemy projectile hits one of your structures, said structure is destroyed, and if all 6 cities are destroyed, it's game over. Unlike old school Missile Command, Recharge doesn't have waves of inbound missiles, but rather is continuous with some occasional breaks in the offensive lines. Also, unlike old school Missile Command, on occasion, power-up boxes will fly by, and destroying one will grant you whatever power-up is contained within for a limited time, whether it be rapid-fire shots, shields for your cities, or even a big-ass nuke to clear most of the screen. Naturally, your goal is to last as long as possible to attain a high score for the leaderboards, but points also serve a secondary function for you see as you play subsequent games which at first, let's be honest, they won't last long. You accumulate points that can later be spent on upgrades for your bases. Upgrades include the travel speed of your warheads, the size of the blast radius, the time it takes to reload a missile launcher, as well as the time it takes to rebuild a destroyed launcher. You can upgrade each system up to 6 times, and doing that usually entails a significantly long period of grinding, and in fairness, the upgrades offer light but somewhat significant improvements to your performance, which helps every bit. But even with a fully upgraded installation, Missile Command Recharged isn't a walk in the park and takes some serious skills and perhaps a bit of luck to survive the endless onslaught. And honestly, the cursor moves a tad too slow for my tastes, with the analog stick making aiming about as clunky as, well, any version of Missile Command that doesn't control with a trackball or a computer mouse input, which I believe the Steam version does support. Not sure about the trackball, but the mouse definitely, so that's probably the way to go if that's your jam. However, this game was originally designed for devices with touchscreens in mind, so while playing with a gamepad or Joy-Con works for the most part, it's the handheld mode that truly shines, where you plop your slimy fingers all over the fingerprint magnet that is the Switch display, and your shots will go where you press on the screen. In practice, I found I performed much better with the touch display rather than traditional joysticks, and while it's no substitute for a trackball or even a computer mouse input device, it works well enough and is probably a step above the typical analog controls, in my opinion at least. Alright folks, let's face facts. It's 2020, times are shit, more so than usual, and we can only hope for a bombardment from the sky to end all of our misery right here, right now. And if it does come, may it look as retro as Missile Command Recharge. God, that sounds so fucking stupid. But regardless, Missile Command Recharge recreates the vector-based graphics of the arcade original, and then enhances it with lots of flashing lights and strobing and stuff. It's not a bad looking game in that regard, as it's basically a souped up visual presentation of a 40-year-old vector-based arcade game. And likewise with the sound department of Missile Command Recharged, which is straightforward retro stuffings, basically recycling all the old arcade sound effects, while a somewhat energetic but eventually tiresome retro-ish tune plays in the background. Overall, Missile Command Recharge is a nice little time sink for dirt cheap, and as a modern remake of an arcade classic, it's a functional one if nothing else. The experience is bare bones, and those wanting a little more might not get it, but for those who just want a quick arcade fix in a challenging game of endurance that may or may not last you all that long, Missile Command Recharge does the job nicely enough for a low enough price point. Clean, simple, harmless fun is all I got. Bye.